What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Kiara and
Vanessa.
Today we're going to talk about Women's History Month and highlighting Breonna Taylor. So that sounds interesting to you?
And just keep on watching.
In honor of March being Women's History Month and also the month of Breonna Taylor's 1-year anniversary, March 13th, me and Vanessa wanted just to have a conversation in regards to Black women, Black Lives Matter movement, and Breonna Taylor. So, Vanessa, I'll let you kick it off.
Since we were talking about Breonna, how do you feel about what happened to Breonna Taylor last year?
So, for me, I feel that no matter your race, no matter your gender, no matter your sexual orientation status, nobody deserves to be murdered, assassinated in their home. And so that hit home for me because a lot of times we try to do what we feel is right. We try to walk the straight and narrow so that we don't get in trouble or victimized by the police. And she was in her home. She was going to work in the medical field, helping others. And she was not exempt from police brutality. So I was hurt, let alone it being a Black woman, 26 years young. So it really hit home. What about you, Vanessa?
I think she was a paramedic. Well, the main thing with her, with Breonna Taylor was, I just felt like we were like the same age, like we're in the same age range, where we were doing like the same things, like normal stuff, like sleeping, chilling, we got a boyfriend or whatever, and it's just like, damn, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Like it could have been anybody that I know.
Yes.
Because we all go to sleep in our apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Like how can you go to bed one day just regular and then not even know you're not gonna be able to wake up in the morning? I just felt like what happened to her was, like, for a minute, I don't even think we knew about it. Like, it took a while for it to become national news. Yep. And for that to even happen, it was just like, damn.
And I feel that it was a conspiracy with it, trying to cover it up. And her story really didn't get traction until after George Floyd was murdered. And so, that really kind of set the world on fire and allowed everyone's eyes to kind of open and see like what has been going on in the world. So,
yeah. So why do you think like the pandemic, like, because this is not the first time a Black man or a Black woman got shot by the police, but this was like the first time, like the outrage, like the outrage was crazy, and the outrage was like nationwide. Celebrities were involved. Like, what about Breonna Taylor do you think was different than the other people in the other years when people were killed due to police brutality?
Well, I think once again the George Floyd kind of sparked the movement. One, because it was in plain sight that this was wrong and it was a murder. The videos, if we didn't have those footage available for the world to see, that this man was kneed down for 8 minutes 46 seconds, I think that helped people to open up. Even police officers saying that is not right, there's another way to do that.
Right.
And then with Breonna Taylor, I feel how she was able to make national news is because she was in the medical field. It was a pandemic, and the pandemic played a large part into why there's so much uproar right now, because people couldn't go outside. People couldn't go to the grocery stores. We had to sit still. You had to watch it. You had to see what was going on. And there was no like distractions. When the NFL, the NBA started halting sports, it became real, because then now you're getting these people pockets, and you have no choice but to hear us and to see us and to understand that this has been going on for years and years. So I think that if it wasn't a pandemic, we wouldn't have gotten the traction that we have gotten with the visibility and the technology that we have today, and people not being scared to step up and speak out.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. like in the pandemic, I think people started to realize, you know, you're not gonna be here. You may or may not be here. So if it's something that's important to you and that you want to stand up for, okay, now's the time. Like, if you're gonna go out, you want to go out knowing you made a mark in history.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this whole Breonna Taylor situation and people advocating in the ways that they were advocating by protesting during a pandemic, it was kind of like, it was dope to see, honestly.
So I got a question. Do you feel that the Breonna Taylors, the Sandra Bland's, the Tatiana Jeffersons got the same attention as the George Floyds or the Ahmaud Arbery's? Or
no.
Why not? What was different?
No, because first of all, well, at least for Breonna Taylor in that case, that happened like before, and we didn't hear anything about it. We didn't start talking about Breonna Taylor until George Floyd, and then it was almost like an afterthought. It was like, I can't breathe, but then it's like, okay, say her name, like in the background, like, okay, like it's like secondary. And I feel like that's kind of like how our place in society has always been, like second place, like an afterthought. Like, oh, that happened to you too, but they had his knee on his neck. Like that is something more important. They had that black man on the ground calling out for his mama. It just made it seem like one was more important than the other. Like, of course, Breonna Taylor is a woman, a black woman, a young, beautiful black woman. Her life matters. But it just seems as though maybe the woman's place isn't as appreciated.
We had a women's protest downtown Dallas, and the turnout for the women the crowd was different. Even though, yeah, you went to that one, and we had another one, and the crowd still wasn't the same. We recently had a visual for Breonna Taylor for the 1-year anniversary, and that crowd was real light, in my opinion. One thing I want to bring up is the crowd size. It matters, but it doesn't. You can still do work, but it still feels different because black women are always supporting causes, supporting black men. We come out, we show out. You see us at events supporting, the men efforts, human rights efforts, all type of things. But when it's time for people to come out to support us and to uplift us, it seems like Vanessa said, an afterthought. We need the allies to show up. We need our black men to show up and support our efforts. We need everybody to come together because we are the backbone of this nation. And a lot of things wouldn't have been as great as they were without black women. It feels different to see the support of all the other ones and to see the support for the black women dwindle. So I was affected by that.
Right. I've been to a march, a protest that was dedicated specifically for George Floyd. And then I also been to one that was for women and Breonna Taylor specifically. And the crowds are totally different. The sizes are totally different. The people who came out were totally different. And it's frustrating to me because, for one, at least for the protest for the women, advocating on the behalf of women, it was only black women. And that frustrates me because we always have to come up. We always have to come and show out. We always gotta advocate. We always gotta do the behind the scenes work. We gotta be on the front marching and doing all that. But it's like, when it's us, who got our back? Because it's like, damn, where's the black men? Can you have our back? We always got y'all back. No matter what. We got it. But can y'all do the same for us? I remember that protest. It was small, and then it grew, and some guys came. And I remember one of the guys was just like, oh, I don't even know what this is for. I'm just here. And then he just kind of downplayed it, yeah, whatever. I just need some water. Because they were giving out water because it was hot. And I was just like, it really just pissed me off. It was just like, bruh, can we get some love? Can y'all love on us the way we love on y'all? And that's all I be really wanting. Like,
Yeah. Why do you think we get so emotionally attached to these stories in comparison to, I want our ally viewers, our white viewers, Asian, Hispanic supporters to understand like the difference that it feels, because you see somebody or you hear about somebody getting murdered and people may be like, oh, why is this such a big deal? I feel that Black people are carrying a weight on them tremendously, and our counterparts of different races and nationalities expect us to just go about work as usual. But I know me and some of my friends have had some nights of crying and some nights of like distress. And so why do you think that this is just not another person that died, or why do you feel that it's such an emotional connection with what's going on in America today?
I feel like I have an emotional connection because, number one, I'm a woman and that happened to a woman. Number two is because I know that we don't get that same respect. We don't get that same just. And it's frustrating to me because I know we deserve it, and we don't get it. And I feel like the people that should give it to us, at the very minimum, they don't. Like, it's just hard because I'm like, we got y'all back. Like, where's the reciprocity in that? And then as far as like, being a Black female working, there are some experiences that I would experience that I know like my white supervisor won't. Like, I know she won't be here for the day. She'll be like, Vanessa, go in my office and get my computer. Ma'am, I don't want to look like a criminal. Like, only I experience those feelings. There are some things they would never experience because I already know how they perceive Blackness. So when she told me that, I was like, no, can you have someone, like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You're not about to set me up. And it's just like when people get followed, it's just that there are some experiences that are exclusive to us, and we have to carry that burden. We have to carry those feelings, and it's just not a good feeling. Yeah. So that's why it makes me emotional, because it's like we have all this stuff to carry, all these burdens, but then we are supposed to just walk out into the world and be like, hi. We just supposed to be like happy and grateful for everything. But yes, I am grateful, but it's hard. That's all it's hard to balance.
Yeah. I would say being a Black woman in corporate America during this time period was very difficult. And also during the course of the summer of 2020, I had my younger brother staying with me. And so I don't have any children, but this made me think about, my Black son, my Black daughter, my Black brother will be, marginalized based on the color of their skin, or because somebody is fearful. For me, if you are the police and you're scared of someone and you decide to get trigger happy, you should suffer more consequences because you know the law.
And you're trained.
And you're trained. So that was frustrating for me. And then being the only Black person and the only female on my team, everybody was going about business as usual when I'm hurt and distraught, and I had to speak with my manager and let them know, no, I'm not. How are you doing today? I'm not okay, because the world is shattering, and you're going about business as usual when, yes, there's a pandemic, but there is also another crisis that seems to be getting ignored, and I had to let my voice be heard, but also not come across as the angry Black woman, keep my composure, but also express my, frustrations to what's going on. And that was something very tough. And I think that we do have that emotional connection because, we don't get the same equality or equity that our counterparts would perceive. There is a different standard and a different bar that African Americans have had to endure in this country, but we're expected to reach the same level and just dust our shoulders off and get up. And it's like,
be strong.
Be strong. If I can go to college, you can go to college. Not in regards to the disenfranchisement of our neighborhoods, where we grew up at, the food deserts, crack in our communities, the drug pandemic. So many things throughout history have been a slap in the face to African Americans, where we just supposed to get up by our bootstraps and keep it moving. But slavery and segregation was not 200 years ago. Segregation was less 50 years ago, and we're just now coming to a point where we are being able to voice our opinion and almost seen as equal and not 1/8 of a human being. So
yeah, and one thing that you mentioned about like your workplace, it's not their world. It's not their world. They don't have those burdens. They don't have those things to consider. That's why they were able to just wake up, let's go to work, and just continue business as usual, because they don't have those fears.
And I have to fit myself into their mold. Even so, as African American women, we have to deal with our hair, and if it's appropriate to wear braids, or if we want to wear our hair natural, or if we want to get dreadlocks, if we're going to be look the same. No one is asking if someone natural hair comes out their head that's curly and long and blonde, if they need to change their hair to be appropriate for the workplace. And we have to put laws in place, the Crown Act, to say that you cannot discriminate based on the hair type. That is something that white Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans haven't had to face, but African Americans have had to have that burden based on our hair texture and the way we choose to wear our hair, when it doesn't matter of the content and what I bring to the table, but you're judging me on physical characteristics, whether I can get a job done.
Right. My job is not written. These rules I'm about to say, they are not written. But after I started working there, they wanted me to cover my tattoos, whatever. Okay. But then when they told me about my hair, I was like, here we go. Here we go. Like, they was like, oh, you can't get any extravagant colors. You can't get red. I'm like, red? Like burgundy? Like, I can't get red. I was just like, I don't know. It's like you can't express yourself. And I think that's why so many people go the entrepreneur route, because you can have that,
liberty.
Yeah, you have that on. Yeah, you do whatever you want. It's your business. But when she was telling me about my hair and what I couldn't do and braids, how long they could be, I was just like, where is this in writing? Because
what policies?
Yeah, no one. Listen, if it was beforehand, like if they would have said something to me, then maybe I would have thought twice. But now it's just like, I'm here. Whatever. Now I have to abide by the rules, but no one else has to consider those things. It's just our hair. Yeah. I ain't never heard them say your hair too straight, like it's too black. Like what?
It's too blonde.
It's too blonde. Why are your roots a different color? Like no one says that. It's not a thing. We don't consider that. But for us, it's not professional. Your hair that being that curly, that kinky that's not professional. What is that? What you have going on there? Like no. It's disrespectful at best. That's the only way I can describe it.
How do you feel about the Back to Blue movement that was going as well in conjunction with the Black Lives Matter movement?